There's still a little confusion around today after Hunter Biden's plea deal fell apart and threw his whole criminal case into uncertain waters.
The president's son was supposed to plead guilty yesterday to misdemeanor charges for failing to pay taxes, but the judge put the brakes on that agreement, raising concerns about its structure and terms.
Joining us now to take a deeper look into all of this is criminal defense attorney and former U.S. Assistant Prosecutor Richard Convertino. Thanks for being with us today,
Thank
Richard.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So tell us the concerns that the judge had with this whole deal. Why did it all fall apart?
Well, I read the plea agreement, the Rule 11 plea agreement. It's called such because it's under Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. I read through that carefully. I read the diversion agreement as well. And the little I could glean from the judge is basically she's just over officious. I think the judge kind of didn't do her duty and proceed with the plea as it should have been. The plea is, we talked about this last time I was here about the plea, which is very, very favorable plea. It's incredibly favorable. I've never, in my years as a prosecutor, I've never had a federal diversion case. The diversion case is a gun case, and the gun case is based upon Hunter Biden's possession and ingestion of crack cocaine over a period where he says it occurred every 15 minutes in his life, and he purchased a gun, lied on the ATF form, and then was caught with the gun. That's a very serious offense, and that's a 10-year offense. And so to get a diversion for that is absolutely unheard of. The other thing that was very unusual with that plea agreement was that the gun offense, which is the most serious as far as his liberty interest goes, the gun offense was not to be used as other bad acts or acts that could be used in the sentencing of his guilty plea, which would have enhanced his sentencing guidelines had that been used. So that specifically was carved out, and the judge was unable to use that in the sentencing guidelines. So it was a very, very favorable plea. But the judge, I think, had no basis to question the plea at that point in time and withdraw and have the parties withdraw from the plea. It's as if somebody were charged with a probation violation. So somebody who's out on probation or parole, probation in the federal system, and they violate the terms of their probation. The prosecutor doesn't have the right just to sweep that person up off the street through the law enforcement agencies that they use and stick them in a prison. They have to go before a judge. The judge decides on the facts whether or not that person actually violated the terms of his or her probation. And that's the same way that this plea would have been with the diversion. That's what called for the judge to say, no, I'm not going ahead. I don't have a right to judge whether Hunter Biden had ever violated the terms of the diversion agreement. And that's what broke it down.
Just how rare, though, is this in a situation where the government has a deal with a defendant here?
How rare that it breaks down in court?
Yeah, where a judge says, I don't think so.
It's pretty rare, and the reason it's rare is many judges determine what type of plea they'll accept under the terms of Rule 11, whether they have say in the sentencing or not, whether the terms of the agreement, the sentencing agreement between the prosecutor and the defense attorney must be upheld by the judge. That's one form of a plea. The other form of a plea, which is in this case what happened, was that the prosecution says this is what we believe the sentence should be. The defendant in this case agreed, but they put in the terms of the Rule 11 plea agreement, if the judge believes that the sentence should depart upward or downward, the judge ruling will hold the day. And so that was, I'm not sure why the judge didn't go ahead with the plea agreement. She just, I think, was just, like I said, overly officious. She was too involved in the proceeding. I think that there was nothing that wasn't agreed to fully, and they should have gone ahead. And they will. I think they will go ahead with this plea agreement.
How much of a role do you think politics played in this whole thing, from the investigation to the charges to the plea deal falling apart?
I think it was an enormous impact on the plea. There was misdemeanor tax case is very rare. Although I had one when I was a defense attorney, I represented someone. I got them. They were indicted in a felony tax case, and I got a plea of a misdemeanor. So that does happen on occasion. But the gun charge is very unusual. That's a serious offense. If you can imagine someone who is under the influence of crack cocaine, and by his own admission, ingesting it every 15 minutes. Smoking crack every 15 minutes, goes into a gun shop, lies on an ATF form, says he's not involved, doesn't have any addictions, doesn't use cocaine or any other substance, purchases the gun, gets caught with the gun about a week later in his car, then disposes of the gun, throws it in a garbage can after you try and get rid of the evidence. That's a serious offense in any federal district in the United States. And so to have that serve as a diversion, which, and under the terms of his diversion program, it would be 2 years without any offenses, without any violations, and then the charge is as if it never happened. It's totally dismissed. And in fact, he can go purchase another gun, which wouldn't happen normally in the federal system if there was a conviction.
Still a lot more to unfold here in the Hunter Biden case. We will keep the developing news coming at you here on CBS News Detroit. Former U.S. Assistant Prosecutor Richard Convertino, thank you for being with us here tonight.
Thanks.